We're back, part 2. I'm only on the floor because I needed to get off for a gate, so I thought I'd stop down here so that you could all see the gorgeous Annie. And I'll just give it a few minutes for some people to rejoin before I carry on with her history. Beautiful girl. She says, can I have a snack of grass? Food is very important in your life, isn't it, Annie? Sorry, this might not be the best filming, but you can see her beautiful face. Sorry, Annie. Are you marching? See, there's so much. Oh, I think I've got a few more people back. I can't quite see, haven't got my glasses on. Bear with me a second. Oh, hold on. See, there's so much to tell you about Anja that I'm going to get back without telling you half of it. So I've told you about her grading history, which is actually probably the least important part. Hi Peg, hi Monique, hi Ruth, hi Novi. Where did I get to? Anja, there's so much to tell you. Anja, when she'd had a foal, she became almost like a different personality. You know, she matured, she wasn't quite as feisty with all the others, and because she spent a lot of time up at the yard because of the issues with her skin, she wasn't really worried about being part of the herd. And I always remember she was actually really, her and Drommy were the start of our free reining horses, because Drommy, for those who don't know, was my original stallion. Not a stallion that I ever bred with, but he was a mummy's boy, and he stayed as a stallion until he was 18, and I actually had him gelded at that age because he all of a sudden turned very, very nasty, which completely wasn't him, and the only thing that we could think was that it was related to hormones. So we had him gelded, and this is where I'd never have a stallion again unless I had several that could live together, because I just don't think it's a healthy thing for them not to have contact with other horses, which there's a lot of stallions that live a very lonely life. Anyway, had him gelded, and basically Annie babysat him, and I knew that she wouldn't put up with any rubbish from him, you know, if he was trying to hop on her or do anything silly. So she used to go out with him just on the footpath area of the yard, just outside the yard, and we put some temporary fencing across there, and they used to mooch around together, and they were the best of friends. And in fact, Siska, Annie's baby, used to go out with him as well, and the three of them were just really lovely together. I'm just going to open a gate, so the filming might be a little bit dodgy. So as I say, you know, she was the start of our free reiners, because I could trust her completely. Sorry, Annie, do you want to get through? Do you want to go through, darling? Yeah. It's a nice bridle weight, this, but there's a lot of gates. Hold on, let me make sure it's shut properly. Oh, look, isn't she beautiful? Hi, Tim. Hi, Extra Sale. Just have a look at a few comments. Yes, absolutely. Thank you to anybody who hits the like button. So, obviously, we lost Drommy, we lost Siska, and when did the free reining really start? I can't remember. It was a few years ago that I just thought, you know, she's so trustworthy that she can just mooch around the place. What haven't I covered? I haven't covered her driving, have I? So as I say, you know, I backed her to drive younger than I would ever consider now. I think she was driving by the time she was 5. And she was great on her own. She didn't particularly like driving with anyone else. And I remember when Mabel came back to join us full time at the sanctuary. I'd trained Mabel to drive years ago and popped her in a pair with Anja. And the first time they drove out together, I thought, oh, these are fabulous together. The second time, Anja absolutely hated her. And yeah, really wasn't happy with it. And they've actually disliked each other ever since, really. So Mabel and Annie aren't the best of friends. You know, they'll tolerate each other, and Annie isn't confrontational with her now, but she used to be. So Annie and the driving. Of course, again, some of you will have seen the Christmas drives that we've done over the years in Cartmel Village. I thought I might as well stay on foot because we've got another gate in a minute. And Anja has taken Santa into the village and Santa down to the local primary school for many years. We didn't do it last Christmas because I have now retired her from driving. She pretty much told me that she didn't really want to do it anymore. And as an older lady, she really doesn't need to. But we've had some magical times, and if you head back to some of our videos on the channel, you'll see some wonderful footage of her dressed in wonderful fairy lights, her in the carriage, along with Hannes and Renska, going round the village. And it has been truly magical. But she now just lives a life up on the yard, demanding neck scratches all the time. Don't you, sweetheart? She loves to go in the friendship barn, so anyone who wants to come to the friendship barn and spend time cuddling and scratching her, she loves it. She's also done our stable stays a few times, so we've had a number of people stay with her in there. What else have I not told everybody about you? Yeah, she's a really good teacher. You know, not only has she taught me more than any other horse I've ever worked with over the years, she's been brilliant with the other horses. And some of you will have seen her with Nero. So she currently does the ride and lead with Nero, and she just has to pull a face at him to tell him when he's misbehaving or not doing the right thing. And he completely respects her. I do have a bit of video that one day I'll dig out to share with you all, where we had a young mare come along to stay with us short term at the sanctuary, who clearly had a number of health issues, was in really poor condition, very skinny, looked very weak and frail. And I remember putting her in with Anja. And Anja, you know, she's a big solid stamp of a Friesian, and this little mare was sort of half her size. And the little mare would keep going up to her, like reversing into her, threatening to kick her. And Anja would just walk away to another hay net and ignore her. And this mare just kept on and kept on for probably about 8-10 minutes. And Anja was so tolerant. She didn't do anything to have a go at her, but she just kept walking away, saying, no, I don't do confrontation. And then the mare just pushed it too far, and Anja turned round and absolutely walloped her. And you know what? That mare never challenged her again. And I think for me at the time, it was a perfect lesson in horse behaviour and how they are with each other. And sometimes it's about instilling that discipline with one short, sharp kick. And I think there's a lot to be learnt from that. You know, I'm certainly not a believer in hitting horses or anything like that, but sometimes you do need to be firm to instill that hierarchy within the herd. So it was a really interesting video to watch, and I think, you know, if I think of people riding and working with horses and they're like kick, 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 and the horse isn't responding, you know, sometimes you have to be very clear in your instruction of what you're asking, because otherwise they're wanting to be the herd leader. And yeah, that little mare, as I say, she realised from that day that she wasn't going to be the herd leader, because that's Annie's position. Cats do the same, do they, Peg? I think all animals probably do the same. Tim, it's time for your vision of more stables to take shape. These beautiful horses are getting older, will need special accommodations like the Hoytzer and Jubba's house. Well, Tim, it's interesting that you mention that now, and I pick up on that particular comment, because literally just before I came out on the hack today, sorry, I've just got to open a gate, I'd been speaking to somebody locally about getting a quote for the building that we're looking to put up for the girls' winter area. And rather than this person actually saying to me 2 weeks ago when we discussed it that they weren't really interested in doing it because they weren't keen on being filmed, they just let me chase them for 2 weeks for a quote, only to then find out just before I came out today that actually they clearly don't want it. So I was a little bit irritated before I came out, because that to me has wasted more time. But we do have a lady on board who's doing the permitted development application, but I do need to now contact another company about getting a quote for the building, because obviously I want it up by the end of the year. And I completely understand and respect anybody who doesn't want to be filmed. That's not a problem, but I can't be taking on anybody to put a building up for us if they're not happy for us to share it with all of you, because it's thanks to all of you that we can get all this work done to make sure that we can give the horses the very best in life. So I will share more about that with you as soon as I can. But yeah, there are plans in place, and you know, there's plenty of other companies, although, you know, I always prefer to use locals where possible, but it might be that in this instance it's a big project that we need to call in perhaps a larger company that doesn't have anything that they're not willing to share with all of you, our lovely followers. And I know a lot of people are scared about what people say online, and at the end of the day, that's why I'm quite happy to share everything, because I've got nothing to hide. You know, there's some things that we might do that people might not agree with, and that's fine, because I'm not trying to tell anybody how they should do things. I'm just looking to share what we do with all of you, and you know, you either like it or you don't. Anyway, so that's the update on that. It still is a work in progress, but hopefully if we can get the permitted development application in within the next few weeks, then I believe that it's 56 days that the council have to give the go-ahead, and as long as I've got the right company in place for doing the building, then we should be done in time for winter. The groundworks isn't a problem. Tony Dixon, who's done a lot of the groundworks around the farm just to tidy the place up and prepare the area for the lodge, he's already on board for that. So we know we're covered with the groundworks. It's just the building at the moment. But you know, there'll be other people out there who will want the business for the right reasons. Anyway, we're back at the yard with Queen Annie, or back at Annie's yard, because it is your yard, isn't it, darling? Let me just close the gate. And actually, speaking of this gateway, sorry, Annie, do you want to come round here, darling, so I can shut this? This gateway, some of you may remember, this is Jamie's wall along here, and we do have Philip Dalton, who is another local supplier who also does large buildings, but I think he's probably too busy to do ours. He's currently or I hope he's making, the gate to go here, which is going to be Nancy's gate. So there's all sorts of different things going on, but as you can see, we're back at the yard now. We've got Susan over there on the right because we are busy preparing for our second Friendship Day today. So she's got Spesh and Mabel, and there's a little hidder there. Jodie's around somewhere with all her babies because the team has been fantastic while I've been a little bit out of action with Mum over the last few days. They've been keeping on top of everything. There's little Princicle, and there's Nero over there. I'm just going to, oh, Annie, you're going to have a pee now. She always likes to have a pee after she's been out. There we go, darling. And we'll get your tack off, and then we'll go and find out who the very lucky winner is of your raffle. Peg, wonderful that you're going to make it tomorrow. I'm hoping we have a little more of this sunshine. Sorry, just bear with me while I take Annie's bridle off. You get a close-up of it there. There we go, Annie. Let's get your saddle off as well. You see, Annie can just wander wherever she likes, really. She'll probably go over and want a drink. Oh, she's going to finish off her breakfast. That's the remains of your breakfast, darling, that you didn't finish. Peg, we can put Arthur into action. Absolutely, Peg. Yep, you have to have a ride round in Arthur. You know, it's not always easy to access all the areas, but now, thanks to all of you and one of our very wonderful anonymous donors, we do have an Arthur, our Polaris, who's over there, who can help anybody around the yard if they're not quite as mobile as they would usually be. Lorna, you missed most of the hack. Well, hopefully you can always watch it on catch up. I'm afraid there wasn't a lot of structure to it just because my little brain's all over the place at the moment. There we go, there's a Mabel bottom. There's the gorgeous Queen herself, Annie. And we'll go round and find a fray. Hopefully, Susan, can I ask you to give Annie a little sponge down?
Will do.
Is that okay? Thank you very much.
I'm just filling up her green thing so she can have a drink.
Oh yes,
From there.
she does like her drink from there. Yeah. Annie, thank you very much, my darling. And we're going to go and find out who the very lucky winner is of your beautiful quilt. So head round to the office. Oh, we've got a bit of music in the background. We do like to have music playing for the horses. Let's go and see. We've got Lisa round here pressure washing. Vince on the tractor up there. Thank you, Lindsay, I appreciate that. As I say, I jumped from one thing to another. If I can get Lisa's attention, then she's going to curse me in a minute. Sorry. Sorry, I'll just whiz in the office. How's it going? Good. It looks fab.
It does look good, doesn't it?
Yeah. So we've got Nika and Ren in the background there. It's a little bit noisy out there for tomorrow. I feel a bit guilty having gone out on everybody to do all the work. Hopefully, if it's not too noisy, we will go ahead and find out who the very lucky winner is of that beautiful, beautiful quilt. I need to get Annie's bridle back in the right place. There we go. On the Annie and Micah hook. And, right, let me put that in a stand so that, sorry, because we've been a bit all over the place this morning. I haven't really planned this very well. Let me turn you round. Look, you get my mug shot now. Oh, what have I done? No, I think you're still here. Right, so let's pop you up on there. Just bear with me, I just want to get my hat off for a sec. Sorry, Frey, I'm making your nice clean floor dirty now. And so Frey is just getting the spreadsheet up on her computer over there. And I have on my computer random.org. So Frey, oops, I've sat on something there, my hat. Frey is going to give me the number of entries, and I will put it into random.org here once I've got my glasses on. So you can see, if you look over here, we're going from number 2, because that's where the spreadsheet starts, to number 141.
Yeah.
Now obviously we can't show you the spreadsheet for data protection, but now we just hit this generate button, and that's come up with here number 53. 53. Drum roll please, the winner of the beautiful peacock Anja quilt made by the wonderful Diane Cox, our quilting queen. Susan S. Well, fantastic. Huge congratulations to you, Susan. We will be getting that sent off and in the post to you. It won't be till next week now. Where is it? Is it still over? So Frey's just going to get it. So Diane's last beautifully coloured quilt in Anja's colours is right there. Susan S., you are the very lucky winner of that. I have the other Anja quilt, which is absolutely beautiful too, and it's a gorgeous headshot of her, and I believe that Diane is going to be doing more headshots of all the horses in the months to come. So huge thank you to everybody who bought tickets for that. All the funds go directly towards the day-to-day care of all the boys and girls, and these are very generously created and donated by our quilting queen Diane, who also makes a number of these other beautiful things we have on display here, including the roses, and then of course Wendy, who makes all the heartfelt hugs in all the horsey different colours, which you can buy directly off the website, along with the felted bags. And then Diane also does these beautiful little wallets, these card wallets, again in all the horses' colours. So if you've not done so already and you want to have something in one of horses' colours, then head over to the website. We do also have the beautiful headshots, the portrait shots of all the horses, but Sandy did send through all the pictures yesterday of all the wonderful images that she got for us last week of all the boys and girls. So we'll be getting those. We'll shortlist some, won't we, Frey? Yeah, and we'll be getting those up on the website as soon as we can, so that if you want a new picture of your favourite boy or girl at the sanctuary, then you can get them on there. But thank you all very much for joining me on the hack with Anja. It was lovely for me to switch off. I'm going to go and get an update on my mum now, find Tamara, who's preparing for guests in the farmhouse, and then help out a little bit more for preparing for our next Friendship Day, which will go ahead as planned tomorrow. And I believe the rain's stopping. Frey always knows what the weather's doing. Are we going to have a beautiful day?
Yeah, Father, the sun might come out a little bit.
Excellent. So the good thing is that anyone coming along on the day is going to have lots of little grubby feet and grubby manes and tails to groom and wash off the horses. It's going to be a little bit muddy walking round the farm, but all being well, as long as there's not any change with Mum, I will also bring you alive at 1 o'clock tomorrow, and I'll take you on a little tour round so that you can see everything that's going on with our visitors and with all the horses. But thank you all very much for joining. Goodbye from me. Bye from Frey, and we'll see you very soon.